In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to use the law of detachment to get filthy rich, scale your business, improve your life. This is going to be full of practical steps, tactical, actionable things that you can do, apply the principles, and change your fucking life. So first things first, you have to understand what is the law of detachment. The law of detachment basically insinuates that you're emotionally independent upon obtaining and having materialistic things from this physical reality, whether that's a lot of money, cars, women, whatever it may be. You need to be emotionally independent upon having those things in your current life. Until you can do that, you will find yourself chasing money, chasing bitches, chasing the cars, but never actually getting them. Do you notice that when you chase something super hard, you actually never obtain it? That is how this works. So you have to be emotionally independent upon having those things, for those things to come to you. Now this is gonna sound super mysterious, esoteric, and kind of hypocritical, and maybe contradictory to people that are not into the whole esoteric knowledge. But why is this happening? Well, basically, in the universe, if you put your emotional charge into something and you really want something and you really need something, you will have yourself in a position where you have less and less of that thing. So this was happened to me in my business. This was 2024, and I started making this is 2025, pardon. I was starting to make like 1K a day with my e-commerce store. This is my first 1K a day. I felt super happy, super fulfilled, proud, arrogant, like I was feeling super confident, all these good emotions and good things. Because that was my first 1K a day, and this was a lot of fucking money. And when that happened, from that day on, I was feeling so depressed and I wouldn't say depressed, I was feeling super anxious and sad when I would make like $500 a day or $600 a day. Because now I got my brain used to making 1K a day. So whenever I'm making less of it, because I'm emotionally dependent on that 1K a day, I was feeling worse and worse. Now, you need to understand that positivity, let's say this is a house, and you want to build this house of success. Positivity is the building grounds. It is the roots of your house of success, is the positivity. So if you're feeling negative, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling anxious, depressed, most people will not be able to alchemize those emotions into something positive, into something meaningful. Which is why you see those people that say, I'm so unlucky, I'm so depressed, I'm so anxious about this thing. And they continue to stay in that cycle on and watch their life get worse and worse because they're in a negative thought loop. And if you allow yourself to get put into these negative thought loops by being emotionally dependent on the money, you will ruin your business, because I did that to myself. I ruined my fucking business. I had to build it back up. You will ruin your business and your life or any kind of activity that you care about if you're emotionally dependent on the outputs of that activity. That is the simplest way I can explain this. So you cannot build anything in life from negativity. Negativity usually does not lead you into something positive. Positivity is built on positivity. So why is this happening? Because most people are unable to alchemize, as I said, they are unable to alchemize or transform negativity into positive, meaningful work, which is why negativity will always lead to more negativity, more bad shit, and fucking up your life. That's, as I said, you see people being constantly sad, talking about sad things, listening to sad songs, and they will continue to be sad because you cannot build something positive from something negative. Very few people have the knowledge and the awareness to actually do that. So you have to build from positivity. You need to be emotionally independent upon the outputs of your work for you to get those outputs. Or you can get lucky and get those outputs, but you will still fuck up your business and that whole endeavor because you're still emotionally dependent upon it. So, how do you obtain emotional independence upon those things? let's say in this case that is money. You need to build emotional independence. This thing should not matter to you. Not matter to you in an emotional way. Of course, you should be pursuing money and actually getting a lot of money and being successful, but you should not be emotionally dependent on it. So most people don't realize that they can obtain these emotions from their inner self. So think about any kind of desire that you have. Let's say it's a Lambo. You want a Lambo really bad. Why do you want a Lambo? Ask yourself. Like, most people will say the surface level, superficial answer to this, and they will say, oh, because it's cool. I like the color, or I like going fast down the road. Like, they will say these superficial and dumb and actual performative answers. They will not say the real deep-rooted subconscious reasons for why they want the Lambo. They want the Lambo because of validation. And this is not something bad, but you have to realize that for every desire that you have, you seek to be put in an emotional and internal state by that output, by that desire. So a Lambo will be putting you in an internal state of confidence, of high self-esteem, of being proud, being fulfilled, being happy. It will put you into these internal states, which is why you want a Lambo. If everybody had a Lambo, you wouldn't want it because you wouldn't get the validation from it. You wouldn't feel special, you wouldn't be fulfilled, you wouldn't feel confident because everybody has a Lambo. That is the point. So you seek the desires in this physical world because you seek to be in those internal states of emotions. You seek to be confident, you seek to feel happy and confident and fulfilled and proud, which is why you chase the money, of course, and you chase the success, and you chase the Lambo. That is the point. Now, if all these things are internal, they are something inside of yourself, inside of your mind, inside of your psyche, inside of your inner self, inner soul, inner consciousness. What makes you think that you cannot put yourself in that state already? Like, confidence isn't specific to the Lambo, happiness isn't specific to the Lambo, high self-esteem isn't specific to the Lambo. It is not specific to those desires, because there was a time in your life where you felt super confident, where you felt super fulfilled and happy and accomplished. There was a time where you felt those emotions. So what I want you to do, in order to build the emotional independence upon the materialistic things, I want you to first meditate. Now, I know some fucking retards are clicking off this video because they saw the word meditation. But you have to meditate. You have to put yourself in a meditative, fully relaxed state. Now, what that means is your body feels heavy. You stop feeling your hands, your legs, your arms. That is when you're in a state of complete relaxation. Now, I can get into the topic of brain waves and brain frequencies, but that is not important for this video if you're gonna blindly comply with what I'm saying to you here. So via meditation, using meditation, you will get into this relaxed state, and when you're there, you're gonna be able to access your subconscious mind. Now, in order for me to continue making this video, I gotta explain this to you. So let's say this is your brain. This is your conscious, and this is your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is something that you're aware of. You're aware when you make these cognitive decisions. I'm gonna pick up this water bottle. I'm gonna get a fucking upper deck key. Like, these are cognitive decisions that you're gonna make. But the subconscious mind is something that most people are not aware of because it's your subconscious. Most people lack the awareness to notice the subconscious mind. Now, one thing about the subconscious mind is that it basically directs 90 to 95% of your daily decisions. It's basically like an autopilot for your life. And most people's subconscious minds are programmed to poverty. They are programmed to sadness. That's why you have people constantly saying they're unlucky and sad and broke, because their subconscious mind is directing them to that life. They are listening to depressing songs, feeling depressed, doing stuff that depressed people do, like sleep all day, lay in bed, and fucking rot away. That is because their subconscious mind is directing them to making those decisions. So, In order for you to reprogram your subconscious mind to be channeling that subconscious mind to something that you want, you need to get into a state of full relaxation, because your subconscious mind cannot be accessed if you're aware and awake and like fully energetic. You cannot access your subconscious mind in that state of emotion, in that state of your brain. So you have to get to a relaxed state. Then you have to visualize. You have to visualize the moments in your life where you felt confident, excited, proud, happy, fulfilled. And there are plenty of those moments. You can think of them. You can think of when you felt confident because you built a good body in the gym and you hit your first, 225 on the bench. You felt super confident in that moment. So the scene or the situation does not particularly matter. What matters is the emotion you will feel. Now, I need to preface this by saying that visualization without emotion is in vain, because your subconscious mind can only be accessed if you're relaxed and if you inject emotions. So emotions are super crucial here. To visualize those situations and feel those emotions. Like really be relaxed and think of the time when you felt super confident and feel those emotions. Feel how you felt. Bring it up to a peak energy. Feel super good about that. Feel those emotions, truly internalize them. And then you can visualize. This is the first visualization where you feel these confident emotions. Then you can visualize your dream life, your dream situation. Let's say that is you making 10K a month. You visualize yourself in a familiar setting. This is also super important. It needs to be in a familiar setting because you don't want to give your brain too much information to try to build this visualization sequence from. You need to visualize a place that is familiar, that you already know how it looks like. You cannot visualize yourself fucking on the Maldives. You have never been there. Visualize yourself in your bedroom, in your living room. Visualize those selves in that moment when you sit in your fucking bedroom and you open your phone and you see the dashboard and it says 10K made this month. And feel those emotions. Really internalize those emotions. Try to focus on those emotions. See what comes up in your mind. You will see yourself fucking smiling in that moment. It will be a crazy experience for those that haven't done it in the past. But what is important is emotions, as I said. Once you can do that, you need to try and you need to spark those emotions throughout your day. That is what is important, because your mind cannot distinguish physical realities from imagination. And if you can visualize these sequences, these situations every day, every night, it will become like a memory to you. You will actually look back on it in your mind and like you will see it as a memory because you visualize it for so long and feel those emotions for so long and so intensely that your mind thinks it's a reality. So what happens in that moment? Your subconscious gets reprogrammed to you now being a rich guy. You're not in poverty. Now there's a lot more things that we have to cover here if you truly want to fully reprogram your subconscious mind, but for the purpose of this video, have to visualize, feel those emotions, and spark those emotions throughout your day. When you're working on your business, when you're going to the gym, when you're doing any kind of endeavor that you want to improve, feel those emotions and stop seeking the physical things in this reality to make those emotions spark. You need to be able to spark those emotions by yourself, by your own mind, not by the money, not by the cars, not by the houses, by your own self. If you're able to do that, you will see yourself stop chasing money. But not in a way that you become lazy, but in a way that you simply don't give a fuck how much money you made today. Now, people are gonna say like, but what if you fucking fail your business because you're not focused on how much money you make and you make bad decisions, etc. I'm not saying that you are not caring about making a lot of money, but you simply don't chase it to a point that you want to feel those emotions. You simply need to feel those feelings, but also work on your business. You need to be also focused on your business continually and consistently, but not really caring about the outputs. If you can care about the inputs, if you can make yourself feel fulfilled and proud and confident from the work you're putting in, you will see yourself stop giving a fuck about money, stop giving a fuck about the Lambo. That's why you see people that make a lot of money and they buy a Lambo and they make videos like, yeah, I bought all this stuff, but I didn't become fulfilled from it, because those people realize that those materialistic things are not super important, because they can feel those emotions either way. They realize that those things, those desires that they wanted, didn't actually make them feel the way that they wanted, because those emotions, those feelings dissipate if you make them spark only from the physical reality. So that is the main point that I'm trying to convey here. I want you to every day meditate, be in a relaxed state, visualize the situations where you felt confident, visualize the situations where you're living your dream life in a familiar setting, feel the intense emotions, and carry those emotions throughout your day when you're working on your business, and actually start caring more about the work you're putting in, start feeling better about the work you're putting in rather than the outputs you're getting from it. When you do this, when you apply this correctly, you will scale your fucking business, because that's exactly what happened to me. When I stopped giving a fuck about money, when I started caring about my work, improving my work and my knowledge and my skills, and living as a person that is already making that kind of money, I got it. Life works in a funny way, but this is all the knowledge you need, truthfully. And this is what absolutely changed my life, because I paid a mentor for this. A mentor taught me this, and he changed my fucking life. So I hope everything was clear. You can apply the principles, change your life, scale your business, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like and share. See you guys next time.